Wow. The Marvels records worst ever North American opening weekend box office for the MCU, taking home only $47 million. Domestic, I don't need to tell you guys, that is incredibly bad. Marvel's worst before this was The Incredible Hulk. Like what, like 14 years ago? Made only 55.4 million on its release in June 2008. This is very bad. Really, really, really bad. And the Marvel's financial difficulties are compounded by its production budget, which is reported to have been 2.7, 20, what is that? $274 million. Oh my God. And its opening worldwide weekend was only 110 million. And because this movie, the audience scores on Rotten Tomatoes are good, I had fun watching it. I don't think anybody's going back for repeat viewing on this thing. I have a feeling that second week drop is going to be abysmal. So let's talk about the movie for a little bit. In my opinion, The Marvels is like day-old McDonald's French fries. You know they're bad. You know they don't taste great. And yet, you're going to eat them, and you might enjoy yourself a little bit anyways. That's my take on the Marvels. I was sitting there and I was watching this thing and I was like, wow, this is really bad. That sucked. That was dumb. This is cringe. That was done. Oh my gosh, LOL. I laughed so hard quite a few times. And so, though, I would agree this is one of the worst Marvel movies that have ever been made. Iron Man 2 is definitely better. I don't know if Thor, The Dark World, is better or worse than this one. I haven't seen it in a long time for good reason, because I didn't like it. And I haven't seen Ant-Man and Ant-Man Quantumania. So maybe that one's worse, and this is like in the second, third worst Marvel movie of all time. But it's definitely in the conversation for the worst movie just from like a filmmaking perspective. The plot, the pacing, the editing, all kind of weird. The only thing that saves the movie a little bit and makes it enjoyable is the chemistry between the three main characters, especially Ms. Marvel. Let's talk about Ms. Marvel for a second. They have gold in their hands. Like, Marvel has a winning character. She's incredibly likable and incredibly charming. If they give her a good script, she could actually be really, really good. She could actually be really, really fun. Problem is that, they just haven't written anything good for these characters. And so I would say all of these characters, Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, they need their Thor Ragnarok moment. They need their Winter Soldier moment. They need a great writer, a great director, an experienced writer and director to come in and give these characters their Thor Ragnarok movie. Third time's the charm, right? They need someone to come in and make a fantastic movie that really elevates these characters into something that we can all admire and love. Because right now, they're just not up for it. They're just not up to the standard that we have all been accustomed to, that we all know and love in the likes of Tony Stark and Captain America and Thor. They're just not quite there, except for Miss Marvel, who has the charm, but I don't think she has the writing yet. And so I know a lot of people are saying that this movie flopped because the first movie is actually bad. First movie is not that bad. And to anyone who says the first movie only made $1 billion because Infinity War and Endgame became before and after it, that's just not quite true. Ant-Man and the Wasp came immediately after Infinity War, and it didn't make $1 billion. So yeah, that's obviously not the only reason that Captain Marvel made $1 billion. You had it released for International Women's Day, and you had a lot of people who don't usually go to Marvel movies going to see it. Who? Moms. So they added more to their ticket sales body. And whether you like it or not, a lot of people did like it, and obviously went to see it multiple times, because you don't get to $1 billion without people going to see a movie multiple times. And so, that's just reality. I don't understand why people have to be insecure and explain away movies they don't like being good. Like, if you don't like Captain Marvel, fine. I thought it was mid. I don't care for it all that much. I haven't watched it since I watched it in theaters. But I'm not all like insecure and trying to make up all of these theories to explain away why the movie actually did well. Maybe the movie did well because a lot of other people disagree with you, and that's okay. There's no reason to be upset about that. Film is subjective after all. And so, but yeah, this is going to be a huge, stupendous low for Marvel. And so, why did this happen? Well, I think it happened for multiple reasons. Marketing campaign was bad. I didn't care for the trailers. They didn't really make me excited for the movie. And the last multiple MCU projects have been bad. Secret Invasion was bad. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania apparently was bad. And people really, that just left a bad taste in people's mouths, and they didn't want to go see another overblown CGI sequel that didn't look like it had a lot of promise. And so, where does Marvel go from here? Well, the Thunderbolts and Captain America 4 were all moved until 2025, which means we only have Deadpool in theaters next year. And so that'll be a really good year. It'll be like one awesome movie. And since it's the only Marvel movie next year, it'll probably make $1 billion. That's my guess. But yeah, and another thing about the Marvels, Brie Larson was much more likable in this. Again, I don't think her lines were very good, but she delivered them in a way that was a lot more likable and a lot more interesting. And I actually felt like this was an interesting character that I could enjoy watching if they gave her some good lines. I think the funniest part of the movie for me was the Flerken scene with all of the little cats running around. Spoilers if you haven't seen it. And by the way, spoilers for this video, don't go see the Marvels. If you haven't seen it yet, there's no real spoilers to be had. Nothing ground changing for the MCU. And yes, I know about the post-credit scene. And guess what? That's nothing we haven't seen already in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. So again, it's kind of just a repeat. It's like, yeah, cool. But we already kind of knew that's what was going to happen because you kind of already showed it to us. So nothing new. And so, but yeah, that scene with all of the little cats running around and gobbling up, the people on the space station, that was fun. I enjoyed that. But other than that, a lot of this movie was just cringy, boring, and lame. The end fight with the villain is so cliche, so boring, and so uninteresting. Like, they fight for like a few minutes, something falls on her, and they're like, oh, it's over. It's like, is it really? It's like, and then she, gets the upper hand, because of course she does, and then she puts on a bracelet, has all the power, and then in the most trite, cliche BS thing of all time, it's like, oh no, it's too much power, I'm gonna explode, and she just explodes because she had 2 bracelets on and it was too much for her. And then Ms. Marvel immediately goes and puts both bracelets on and she's fine. It's like, what is this? I don't understand how any of this works. The physics mechanics in this are really, really bad as well. Like, Captain Marvel just flies into a sun and then the sun gets better. It's like, ugh. That this was me in the theater. I was all like, except for a few parts when I laughed. So yeah, do yourself a favor and don't go see this movie in theaters. You can watch it for no extra cost on Disney Plus very soon, I'm sure. Because this thing ain't making money, break even. So those are my thoughts on the whole Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, the Marvels, whatever sort of debacle. It's a huge bomb. People are all upset about it, but like, whatever. Oh, and another thing. Apparently 65% of the viewers were male. So you don't get to use sexism as an excuse for this thing bombing. It bombed because it was bad and no one wanted to watch it. Too bad.